Bangarang, off and rolling.
We're here.
We're here. It is mid-May, and it feels like July. Welcome to Houston.
I mean, good Lord, you ain't kidding.
No.
Being out on that turf right now is killing me already. Yeah.
No.
You need to take stock in like Element or something for some hydration.
Yeah, Liquid IV, something like that. Little sponsorship for that. Anybody's looking for it. We could use it. I went through like 3 Liquid IVs on Saturday alone. Pool opened, took the kids out there.
Oh yeah.
Time to get them acclimated to the water, and then I decided to mow the yard afterwards, and
Oof.
just all in conjunction. Not a wise move.
The mowing of the yard, you don't realize it till you're about halfway through, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gassed right now."
Yeah, the sad part is we pay somebody to mow it like twice a month, but it's that interim week, and to where like it's this looks bad. I've got a couple hours, just go do it, and yeah, it was not a winning decision. Should have just sat on the couch and watched baseball.
Well, you get the 90 degrees and tons of sunshine, and then the random downpour like yesterday, and all of a sudden the grass grows 5 inches overnight, and you're like, sick. This looks like an absolute disaster now.
Jungle.
Yep.
Anywho, shout out our buddies at Baseballism. I got a bunch of restock alerts this week for things like sweatpants, which we won't use for a couple of months.
Nope,
but they look like really high quality. I kept trying to grab a pair like in the fall and into winter, constantly sold out. So if you're not already, go to Baseballism, check the restocks, even for things like sweatpants, hoodies, whatever that you won't use for months. Grab them while they're there. They're popular. They'll disappear. Use code PenPals, capital PEN, capital PALS at checkout. It'll knock 15% off the order, and let them know that you were watching PenPals. And then second of all, Alps. I don't know. Do you do the insiders thing for Alps to where you put in your number? They'll send you text about stuff?
No.
Okay, so I'd done this initially a couple of months ago, and they told us about like a new flavor coming, and I got to try it. Sweet Nectar. That actually hit the website today, officially released. So it was good. It's sweeter. It's kind of different from the tropical fruit one. Tropical fruit kind of tastes like juicy fruit. So go give it a whirl. It's good stuff. And in the meantime, until I place another order, I'm still rocking with old mints and wintergreens. So
yep.
Can't go wrong with it. Mom, don't get mad at kids that are doing nicotine pouches. This ain't tobacco like the old days. This ain't that bad for you. So
yeah, with that, you do need to be 18 plus. Cannot stress that enough. Everybody under 18, what are we thinking?
Anybody under 18, if they're doing nicotine pouches, they're probably doing other vices with it that they shouldn't be doing. It's a combination. So yeah, shame on you. Wait. But if you're over 18, get in the Alps game. We will have a link in the show notes. Go order you a pack from there. Use the link because it lets them know also that you're watching PenPals. So let's warm it up a little bit. I took a quick peek at Batter Up. I have no idea on this one.
Perfect. Can't wait.
The only thing I could tell you that this kind of the ritual now is to look at it and be like, oh, off first impression, this is definitely a white guy.
So real.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
boy.
Look it off. Yee.
The low finish.
Yeah.
I don't love that.
It's 1-2 just based off the finish. You're like, okay, that's not even a home run. That's probably like in the gap. Hustle, take the turn, maybe end up at second. I have no idea.
Honestly, it's ironic that you said stock white guy, because my first thought with the finish was like a Jeremy Pena, because he's a lower finish like that, but I don't know that I've ever seen him get out of the box quite that quickly.
So what I'm also paying attention to is on the follow through, it finishes with one hand. I think Pena finishes with 2.
I think more often than not he does. I don't know if he goes bat drop with one hand. Okay. It's not the rest of the AL West. Could be. Who's a right-hander with Texas? No, not Langford.
Not Berger.
No. Definitely not a Seager.
Not a Simeon.
The way he gets out of the box makes me think it's a young guy.
Yeah.
The majority of young guys seem to be Marlins, White Sox, Nationals,
A's.
Rockies, A's.
So I can tell you that's not a Jacob Wilson.
No, it is not.
Too
Happy
quiet
Feet.
and tame. Yeah.
Yes, Happy Feet is a different guy.
About like a Zach. Go ahead.
No, it's too flat of a bat for like a Connor Norby. I don't really know what Cruz's swing is like, but I doubt they would go him, being that he just hit the IL.
Yeah.
It's usually someone that's kind of on a hot streak. I would have thought they were going to go Will Benson, honestly.
Benzardo's a lefty. What about like a Zach Neto?
He used to have a leg kick, but I don't know anymore. It's not the worst first guess. Can eliminate a lot. Because it is giving like a shortstop build.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is I'm looking at the silhouette and I'm like, okay, this is probably not a first baseman.
Nah.
The guy for the White Sox.
Chase Mydroth?
Yeah, I was gonna say Clay Mydroth, but
could be.
Should we throw it in there? Let's get some data.
He is going off right now.
He's not even in the system.
Yikes.
Unless, is it CE?
I do not know on that.
Let's skip. Okay, I'm going to throw Neto in there just to get context. Okay, all we got is he's in the AL, he's from the US, he's an infielder, and he's young.
It's not a Christian Campbell.
It's not a Volpe, is it?
I don't think so.
It's too, dare I say, flat for like a story.
I would think like a Royce Lewis type, but I don't think that's Royce Lewis's swing.
I don't either. India?
I think he's too old.
Okay.
Because he's got to be 28 by now.
So let's go AL Central or AL East from the USA, infielder and young.
AL East. Ooh, what about like a? No, it's not a shortstop. Can't be Taylor Walls.
I don't know Caballero's swing enough off the top of my head. Is this a Curtis Mead?
So I was thinking Mead, but he's Australian, so it can't.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
It's not Aranda's right-handed swing. Let's see.
We just played them. I should have a better idea of who was on that roster.
I'm trying to think. I don't think Baltimore has a righty swing. No, not from an American, I don't think.
What about Toronto? Is that like a Will Wagner?
Yeah, your guess is as good as any at that point. Yeah, because Ernie Clement would be too old.
Okay.
Ernie might only be like 27, actually.
Detroit. That's the other one you think about. See, all Detroit, like Sweeney is a left-handed bat. Jung's a left-handed bat who's also sent down.
Carpenter's lefty.
Right.
Said it's an infielder too. McKinstry's a righty or a lefty? I don't even know. And he's also, see, that's where it's tough. He's utility.
Probably older.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's throw one in there just to at least get division. We'll narrow it down.
Oh boy.
We're going to talk about the O's plenty today. Can we think of a right-handed O's infielder? That's not Urias, is it?
That's what I would have thought, but I don't think he is American. Like I'm
That's another.
pretty sure he's not an American. I got nothing. The only guy coming to mind is Ernie Clement.
Let's throw it in there. Okay.
So it is AL East.
Okay. It's not second base.
So it's a third baseman, most likely.
Maybe a first baseman.
Yeah. So it's okay. Not Ben Rice.
Nope.
Who's the third baseman for the Yankees right now?
Cabrera just broke his ankle. It was gnarly too. Not fun to watch.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've eliminated the Orioles.
Should we try? I think Volpe's more.
I mean, yeah, and it says not a shortstop.
That's true. Who's playing first? That's not LeMahieu.
I think it's Rice and Goldie playing first.
Oh, that's right. That's easy. It's not the Jays. It's going to end up being a Ray.
I mean, it could be somebody on the Jays. I just don't know infield wise.
No, like it's not.
It's not Jimenez because he's lefty.
All right, let's cheat.
I need rosters.
Yep.
Not Campbell. Not Bregman. That like could be Abraham Toro right-handed. I can't remember his righty swing.
Mateo is not American. That's not Mountcastle, is it?
No, Mounty's steeper than that. Or it could be Nick Sogard, but I can't think of his swing.
That's a deep dive. Peraza would not be American. Not Volpe based off position. Let's go Rays. Man. Let's should we just guess Walls?
You can.
Yeah.
It depends what he's listed. Or I don't think he's listed as a third baseman, but
at least get us a team. No, not Rays.
So I'm going that it's Boston. Throw Abraham Toro in. Oh, no, wait. Does that say he's not 28? Okay, so it's not Toro. Could be Sogard. Who did the Yankees just bring up for Peraza?
David Hamilton's lefty. Could be Toro. It could be Sogard. Should we do Sogard? Just
I think that's the best guess at this point.
He's not even in here.
Good Lord.
God, it's Canadian. I had no idea on that. So,
yeah, wow. Blew that one.
Okay.
So it has to be
a third baseman for the Yankees or O's. I just looked.
Is Ramon Urias American? And I could have sworn he was Mexican because I thought he and his brother played for Mexico in the baseball classic.
I mean, they're super lax on.
That is true.
No, born in Mexico. Let's expand. We should be looking at the 40-man probably.
See, and I thought they had to be active on the roster right now.
Because that's not Westberg, is it?
Westberg.
No, he'd have been second base.
He plays third too. Like it. He's not active though, is he? Or he just
He's
come
on
back?
the IL.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not active.
I don't know that it has to be active, just that they're not retired.
Oh, well, that's ridiculous.
I agree. Let's do it.
This is the stump of all stump right here.
Boom. There
No
you go.
way.
Oh, Ronel Blanco. Oh, fitting. There's some talking points here.
Oh boy, is there.
Man, I would have, yeah.
What's funny is we used to always say Westy is stock player one.
Yeah.
Like generic player one, when you get into a video game, that's Jordan Westberg. 6'1", 200 pounds, right-handed, basic swing, generic cleats, and there it is. Just nothing special about the setup or the swing, but just gets it done.
Yep. Okay. I guess he's listed as a third baseman for that too, which that could have been part of the problem. I thought of him as middle infield, but that's what happens when Jackson Holiday gets the call. You move him.
Yeah, and part of it's like, man, I thought this was active players. That's cheap. Going to the IL for your pull there. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see if this does one better. So let's see. In the honor of activation, I'm going to throw Clayton Kershaw out there, though it was not a great performance. He's back.
Oh, 37 is close on age. That's crazy.
So he's old. He's not a starter. He's righty, and he's not from the U.S.
God, this couldn't have gone worse. He's in the NL, but not the NL
or
West.
the AL West.
Or the AL West.
So AL Central, AL East, or AL West.
He's right.
So a right old guy, not from the U.S. Let's stick with the NL. Let's try to get that nailed down.
Every old guy I think of is American.
What about I got you one. Marcell Ozuna. Well, that's not old enough.
It might be 3 years, right?
I think it's 2.
Is it 2? Oh, disaster.
So, golly. I guess it could be a reliever too. But it's not in the NL West. Dude, this is harder than it should be for.
Way harder. I'm trying to think of like an older Latin bullpen arm, and Raisel Iglesias maybe. Is he close on age?
No, he's not that old, is he?
He might be like 34, 35.
Am I spelling it wrong?
RAIS, I believe.
RAIS. There we go. Ooh, 35. Okay. That's NL East at least. Oh, dude.
Okay.
Way to go, Dowdy.
I mean, you narrowed it down tremendously with the Kershaw poll. If we would have gone my direction, I would have got nothing out of it.
Wow.
Yikes.
Okay. Real quick, something I noticed. It'd be cool if Duke were here too, because he could chime in on this, but you would be the expertise. You will know too. the guy that started for the Stros yesterday, I believe, Brandon Walter. He's a lefty. Came out of the Red Sox system. I believe did not pitch last year because of injury. Did okay against the Rays. Not a terrible debut. Thing I noticed, and I assume this is not pitch tipping. Every time he got the ball back when he's coming set, he's automatically gripping a changeup the entire time. Is that common for a guy to just do that right off when he comes set? Like he's not hiding it either. Even if he's pitching from the stretch or whatever, he's showing that the entire time and then comes set.
So the theory on it, and this is more like old school baseball, where new school is more like, hey, start with it in your glove so that you have to dig no matter what.
Right.
Old school baseball was start with whatever pitch you have to get the most hand around. So for most guys, that's a changeup, where it's like, okay, you're trying to get it into the palm of your hand a little bit.
Right. Where
it's like they assume that going into a glove to try and grab a changeup is going to be more difficult than going to get a four seam or something like that. Okay. It's just old school baseball, but yes, that is one of the ways guys are taught. I'm a much bigger proponent on just having it in the glove at all times.
Right.
Because then you never know what's in there. Like I'm going to have to do a quarter turn to any pitch no matter what.
Okay. So it's a smoke screen, essentially. It's not saying that he's – okay.
And it could be that changeup is his best pitch. Like that could be a part of it where it's like
it threw a lot of them.
Yeah, not only is it my best pitch, but it's also what I'm going to need to dig for the most. So I might as well start with it in my hand.
Okay. All right. So both those were kind of a common denominator, I feel like, of what we're going to talk about. Kind of a good litmus test. It's not going to be a comfortable episode because there's a lot that we have to kind of get into of just things that are going wrong for teams. And so we will hit closer to home for you for starts. The Orioles relieved manager Brandon Hyde of his duties last week, I believe. So for the remainder of the season, I believe it's Tony Monsalino will be the interim manager going forward, off third base and into the dugout. So, man, this is we're going to have to eat this one because we were talking about the O's potentially still getting a wild card spot. Riv, you're the loser. Don't
low key, that was perfect timing because the Orioles are losers right now.
That's true.
No, the Orioles are all winners.
You think I brainwashed them a little bit there? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Maybe in your heart, but not this year. 16-32.
What is that? The third worst record in baseball right now? Ouch.
Let's see. Third worst. The Rockies and the White Sox are the only two teams worse than the Orioles currently. So Hyde is gone. Monsalino's in. Nothing has gone right for this team. We'd sat here at the beginning of the season and said, okay, I see a way where this could work. A lot has to go right, and nothing's gone right, essentially. You can't keep pitchers healthy. Uncle Charlie has not been the Uncle Charlie of old. Age has caught up to him. He's been relegated to the pen. Eflin has not been great. We talked kind of before the show started. Dean Kramer's kind of like your number one at this point, which no knock to him, but it's telling of what kind of situation you're in. So can this be righted this season? What are the thoughts? Or is it kind of time to let's kind of pull our chips back and start thinking about the next season? Do you try to salvage this? Just given the fact that it's mid-May, what's the thought you think for the rest of the season?
I don't know that there is a way for them to right the ship and be competitive to a point where they're in a playoff contender role this season. Right. Just looking at where the rotation's at, you would need Bradish and Wells to both come back healthy, be ready to log significant innings, go deep into ball games, because as we've now seen, not only are the starters not performing well, that's causing the bullpen to get taxed, and the bullpen's not throwing well because they're taxed. Really, just to like start on the whole thing is like to make Brandon Hyde the scapegoat here is a little tough for me to stomach.
Yeah,
like he was manager of the year less than 2 seasons ago.
Yep,
it's hard for me to. personal. I loved Hyder. I thought he was a great manager. I thought he did a really good job with the team. That's besides the point now. He feels like a scapegoat. It feels like they realized, okay, we're having a terrible year. We have to do something. They're not going to fire Elias midseason. Like, that can't happen. Besides the fact that I think overall you would look at the team and go, okay, the rebuild seemed to go pretty well. The wheels fell off here. And I think the more concerning part of their roster right now is the lineup. You knew going into the season pitching was going to be a weak spot.
Right.
Not only is it a weak spot, it's the Achilles heel right now. Like, their starting pitching quite literally is the worst in the league. You can't have a playoff team with that kind of starting pitching. You went out and you're down grasping at straws. You bring in Kyle Gibson, give him 2 starts, and you're like, okay, nah, we've seen enough of that.
You're eating $5 million just to let him walk.
Yep.
At this point.
Yep. Charlie Morton, same situation. You gave him $15 million in the offseason. Okay, that's not working out. Don't know what we're going to do there. Throw him in the pen, I guess. You're adding young guys to the roster left and right, hoping that somebody's going to come in and get it done. I think it's beyond repair for this season. And looking forward to next season, it makes you go, okay, if any of those guys that had TJ have setbacks or don't come back as their former selves, we're in a big world of hurt right now.
Right.
Not that the farm is bare, like we talked about.
No, right.
But you're then counting on rookie pitchers to come up and dominate.
The payroll as it stands currently for this season is little 162 and change million, which ranks 15th, smack dab in the middle as far as payroll goes. And we talked about, okay, so going into next season, Charlie Morton comes off the payroll, Zach Eflin comes off the payroll. That frees up a little over 30 million. So that number's dropping. But one, you have to start locking up some of your elite level talent. So like Gunnar, he's not to arbitration yet. Maybe let that ride a little bit. Same with Jackson Holiday, all those guys. But you cannot make a big splash to go sign somebody, a Dylan Cease, a big name or whatever, and overcommitting to that person without being comfortable with letting some of this walk. So you're at a point too, brought up the name Dylan Cease. As far as pitching goes, the Achilles heel that they need to address, Dylan Cease is really the only big name that would probably, he's going to garner a lot of money going into next season. Everybody else is kind of, we'll have to see how the options fall. So even like Chris Sale, but age is a factor there. Zach Gallen's another name, but Zach Gallen has not looked great this season either. So then we're looking at like a Framber Valdez, a head case potentially. So we talked previously a little bit. You're at a point you've got to start dealing from the youth to try to right this ship.
So here's my question to you on this pitching. Are they one pitcher away from being a postseason contender?
No. Well, probably not.
I don't see a world where they are.
No.
Personally. Like, I think you have to go get 2 starting pitchers, which is like, okay, that's going to cost you a lot more than $30 million a year.
Right.
For somebody to step in as a quote unquote ace, because again, you don't know what you're getting back in G-Rod when he's finally healthy. You don't know what you're getting in Wells. You don't know what you're getting in Bradish. And now if they all come back, great. Awesome. Like, you're in a pretty good situation. You can go get 1 pitcher and you're golden. But
you need depth though.
Exactly. Because you've already now proven, and you do have young arms waiting in the wings where it's like, okay, you can see McDermott getting back to a point now that he's healthy where it's like, okay, we're going out there, we're competing, he's going to be okay. Povich, I think there's going to be some little tweaks here and there where he's serviceable as a 4. You need another power type guy, and they do have a couple of those in AA, but they're young right now. They need a little more seasoning.
Are you out on Trevor Rogers?
I don't know if I'm out on him, but I don't think the reclamation project has gone well at all currently.
No, but
and I don't know if they're trying to dig into what they need to fix there, but it hasn't worked so far. But this, again, harkens back to our talk in the offseason of like, okay, what do the Baltimore Orioles need? Oh, they need pitching. Why don't you go get a guy like Jesus Luzardo? We had this exact conversation actually last year during the season about trading for him before the All-Star break or before the deadline. the Phillies go out and make a move, and all of a sudden Luzardo is that guy.
Right.
He's what, top 5 in ERA, top 5 in innings pitched, top 5 in strikeouts. Like he's the Phillies guy currently.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point too. I can look at the contract off the top of my head, but that's also because of the injury history there. That's not somebody I trade for because I don't trust the track record to give up good quality prospects only for him to potentially blow out his arm or whatever down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I trust, again, Monday morning quarterback, you trust trading for him more than you trust trading for Eflin and Rodgers because you traded for both those guys. And you look at what you gave up to get Rodgers. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Stowers is looking like an all-star currently.
Right.
And Norby's getting a ton of innings.
So Luzardo, just a name for argument's sake, 1 more year of arbitration after this year and is an unrestricted free agent in 2027. Yep. Making 6.5 this year. So you're at a point where maybe you do go back to Miami. Miami seems to be your favorite trade partner. And what's the price on Alcantara? What's the price on Yuri Perez?
And Alcantara has not looked good thus far. So that becomes another reclamation project. And now you're at a point where it's like, okay, you don't even make a trade this season because you're going to pay a premium. You've got to kind of see where chips land here. Pablo Lopez has how many years left on his deal? Is he coming up as a free agent?
Let's look.
Because I know he is a candidate to be traded. Obviously, with the Twins surging the way they are, it seems unlikely. But even then, you're looking at the Orioles as needing multiple things to get back to a postseason contender with how the team is playing this year. I think one of your lone bright spots is the fact that Jackson seems to have turned it around.
Yes.
And I think the upsetting part of that is, from outsiders' view, it looks like it's because of something his dad told him.
Potentially. Don't forget about Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins has had a good start, but even to further the point, I think he's a free agent in the offseason too.
He is a free agent. And, I thought the same about Seti. Thought he was having a really good year. Then I looked up
start. Yeah, started cooling off.
Cooled off really quick. I mean, again, in our minds, Cedric is their guy right now. Yeah, he's hitting 230, 236.
Okay.
But he has 10 homers, which is huge. Like, that's most of the offense at this point. But you're hitting 236 as the speed type guy center field. Like, that's not going to get it done.
No. I'm curious, hear me out, because I know what I think should happen if I were a GM, but the rumor mill started floating a little bit just based off the Pirates front office and their history and how they deal with arms. So the rumor started that Paul Skeens would be shopped at some point going forward because Jared Jones is done for the year. The Pirates are not going to compete in what we thought they were, a manner that we thought they were capable of this season. So management came out and said, absolutely not this season, but you have to think going into the offseason, do the Orioles have a prospect package that Pittsburgh would be interested in a deal for Paul Skeens?
I think you can absolutely put together a package that entices them, but then it becomes, are you going to be the team that's going to invest $400 million into Paul Skeens? Because that's going to be the free agent contract. You're going to want to extend him if you trade the farm for him.
Yes, but he's 2 years into a deal. So you have 3-4 years left of club control?
Absolutely. But are you going to trade away your future for 2 to 3 years of, okay, like, we're in the postseason. You're still not a World Series championship caliber roster at that point. Like, you need Gunnar to return to a top 3 MVP guy. You need Adley to show up and be a vote getter.
They're in the situation they're in too. They have not had Jordan Westberg had not had a solid start to the season, but he's hurt. Colton Cowser's been out for most of the season. So the injury bug has not just affected the staff. It's into the roster as a whole. So I imagine you have to go into next year counting on those guys, still needing depth. But okay, if you've got both those guys back into the lineup, you decide Adley's the guy. Do you suddenly sit here and go, okay, Bacelo's on the table, Vance Honeycutt's on the table. I'm missing another outfielder. Enrique Bradfield, he's on the table. Do you entertain that idea to go make the splash? Because at that point, I think your young guys are already kind of at the show that you're probably planning on counting on. I don't know that you're mortgaging your future at that point. Your future is here. You need to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that there are the prospects to deal. I think the worry becomes, say you go all in and deplete the farm, you have to hit on 3 straight drafts to try and get back to even at that point. And if they've proven one thing, they can draft hitting hitters pretty darn well.
Right.
But again, then you go back to where your problem currently is in the pitching realm. It's like, okay, well, like what happened?
Yeah.
Where did the development of these young guys go? Because they didn't draft McDermott. He was traded for. He was an Astro.
Yep.
They didn't draft Povich. He was traded for.
It was a Brewer?
Twin, I want to say.
Okay.
But regardless, also them not re-signing Danny Colon looks absolutely foolish right now because he's still one of 2 pitchers in the big leagues with a 0 ERA.
Right.
Qualifying innings, of course.
Yeah. So takeaway from all this is they're in trouble for the season based off the money. They're going to have money to blow going into the offseason, but Mike Elias is on the hot seat because with all that money to spend, the farm they have, the talent that's already in the house, if you're not competing by this point next season, I think Elias is out the door. It's time for a regime change, which I don't know what it starts to look like past that. Do you still lock up a Gunner, a Holiday, and your cornerstones, and then try to start over? I don't know.
I think you almost have to, if you're going to start locking pieces up, you need to try and lock up Adley and Gunner when they're at their buy low point. Because they're both scuffling. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and then you look at, okay, well, do we need to lock up Bautista as well? So you lock those 3 guys up. That's a lot of money on the books all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Do you still have the extra $30 million a year to go give a starting pitcher that you badly need? Like they've kind of painted themselves in this corner where it's like, okay, the window for championships is closing rapidly when last year we're like, oh, this is like a 6-year window. All of a sudden it's feeling like, oh, we got like 2, maybe 3.
Yeah. I will say since the team sold last year, for like what, $2 billion, wasn't cheap, but it was kind of an investment group that the 2 guys that headed it kind of made it be known that they were ready to compete, which to me tells me they're ready to spend. So
it made it seem like they were going to be like Uncle Stevie. Yeah, we were just going to go blow money left and right, and they've made no moves.
Yeah,
Charlie Morton was your big offseason acquisition.
Yeah, Morton,
Tyler O'Neill, Sugano.
Yeah.
Like no shade to those 3 guys. They're quality. Well, okay. O'Neill and Sugano have proven quality players.
Correct.
Morton, age is catching up, like you said.
He's got a great history, but it's losing momentum.
You know, and that's part of life. You get older, that's what happens. But those are your splashy signings.
Yeah.
Those are the pieces that were supposed to put you over the top. Really? Like, are we looking at the same roster? Because Bradish and Wells were hurt last year.
Yeah.
We knew they weren't available until what? I think it's after July, I want to say, this year.
Yeah.
And that's if rehab stays on track.
Right.
Like, it's just, they're not in a good spot. Again, we've beat a dead horse at this point, but they have, what, the 2nd worst run differential in baseball? How is that even possible?
It's possible because the worst run differential in baseball is also probably going to make history this year.
And that's what's scary is like, without the Rockies, there is a serious possibility that the Orioles are the worst team in baseball this year.
Yeah.
Because they're a game behind Pirates. They're, what, 2 or 3 up on Chicago right now? Chicago's at, what, like 12 wins?
I had that pulled up.
I think the Rockies are the only one still left in single digits.
Correct.
At
White
8.
Sox are at 15. The Rockies are at 8.
Yeah, so the White Sox are a game or half a game back from the Orioles.
Right.
Are you kidding me? That was the team that set the record for worst losing percentage last year.
Correct.
And that's where the Orioles are right now. Yeah.
The Marlins are currently better than all said teams as well as the Pirates.
Oh,
currently.
yeah. I started going down the line. Nationals, Pirates, Marlins, Athletics. It is hilarious. Angels are all better than these teams.
Wow. So if you're an O's fan, if you're looking for optimism, it's that ownership could still very well spin. The payroll dictates that they should this offseason, but your farm's good. Past that, it's not looking grim. This looks not looking good. This is a mismanagement probably of talent and a failure to act, which that probably goes on Mike Elias.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I don't know that the farm is as good as everybody thinks it is.
As far as depth, the top like 5 are pretty good.
We think, again, and I'm guilty of this as much as anybody, I had Kobe Mayo coming up and being an all-star candidate.
Yeah.
That clearly hasn't panned out. Like, you can put all the stock you want into minor league numbers. The big leagues are a different game. They just are.
Yeah. I went and looked to Vance Honeycutt's hitting $198 in
And
high
what?
A.
Yeah, in high A.
56 strikeouts. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's just like, man, like, again, like there's obviously chances to right these ships, but what's going on development wise? Like, where are we at? Have we lost the guys that we were actually controlling our development stages?
Yeah. Your bright spot on the farm currently, outside of, I guess, Basalo, is Enrique Bradfield hitting 333 in Chesapeake AA. But that is very small too, only 8 games. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's probably hurt.
Yeah, that
Or
sounds
has
about
been
right.
hurt.
What's new? More injuries. That's a whole other question of like, is somebody's head on the chopping block because of all of these injuries? Like Kowser, okay, not much you can do there.
No.
Impact injury, broken thumb, like, okay, not much you can do there. But it seems like a recurring theme that they're soft tissue injuries, we'll say, to a lot of Orioles players and people in the system.
So you look at strength and conditioning at that point.
Yeah, and also to answer your question, I have 0 stock in Trevor Rogers. Have you looked at his numbers this year?
No. All I know is he's not up the show.
He has thrown 5 games for AAA. There's injury at some point. He is 0-2 with a 7.71. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
we already talked about him a little bit, but let's jump towards the other coast. Look at the Colorado Rockies. This is one of those things. I kind of went on a rant on fans last week, pretty much that they have the players owe you nothing for buying a ticket or being a fan. And I stand by that. That's 100% accurate. I did say that the person that does owe you something is ownership. They owe it to the fan base to field a serviceable product, a competitive product, to keep the team in games and win ball games. The Rockies have not done that for some time. And, man, it's sad. I don't know. I assume you've probably been to Coors or played at Coors at some point, too. It's a beautiful setup. It just great venue for baseball. I get it. The altitude's a little different up there. Kind of makes pitching and the science behind it a little bit more complicated. But what are we doing at this point?
I guess the question becomes like, okay, yes, half of your games are played at altitude. You have to find a way to win at altitude. You kind of had that formula at one point when you're like, okay, we're just going to load our lineup with boppers. Like, that's what we're going to do. You went from like the Matt Holliday, Todd Helton, Larry Walker eras to, okay, you had Arenado, you had Story. Like, that's how we were going to win games in those years.
Right.
You don't have that big bopper anymore. Like, you put all your money in Chris Bryant. We know that went belly up.
Yeesh.
I think everybody could have told you that was likely the scenario that was going to happen.
Right.
There were trends that didn't look good going into that. So now you're looking around and like, okay, is it Tolia that's supposed to be the guy? Like, I'm pleasantly surprised that he's turning it around.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, okay, we can't hit 200 with 8 homers. Like, that's not going to set the world on fire at Coors.
The reality is the brand of baseball that they've had success with would play really well as far as building a fan base or getting a fan base excited in modern day baseball. If you're going to kind of like what we talked about with the Yankees last year, Yankees are going to win or lose all their games 8-7. That could be what the Rockies are doing if they would invest in some offense.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be exciting to watch. You get some national airtime. People would love to watch that type of baseball right now. And you talk about going back to like the Tulo days, the Cargo, all of those. The ace that comes to mind for those teams was like Jeff Francis, somebody of that age that was not like setting the world on fire, but was just effective.
Yeah, you need a guy to get soft contact. That's really what you need. And you kind of need to lean into like the ground ball pitching profile for your back end of the rotation guys.
Right.
That's almost where you have to go because the ball goes in the air. It's likely extra bases there.
Yes.
You can't try and play the same game that the rest of the league is playing just from the pure fact of like, you've got a power arm like Victor Vodnik in the back end of your bullpen. Huge arm. When he was coming up with the Braves, he was all of the talk. That guy in that stadium is a little sketchy just from the standpoint of like, okay, if they even get close to clipping that 101, it's going to go because the ball carries. You have to start thinking in lines of like, okay, what does our organization actually need to do to perform better in the big leagues? And it doesn't seem like they've taken that approach so far.
No. And as much as we talked about the optimism of like the Orioles that they have money to spend, the Rockies have consistently been at the bottom of the totem pole as far as payroll goes. They do not spend. This year at 124 million, that's 20th out of the league. And so that's coming from a market that is good for baseball too. You're ahead of like the A's, the small market teams, things like that. This is what we're doing. You're paying Austin Gomer 16 million. You're paying Chris Bryant 27. You're still paying Nolan Arenado.
Yep. $5 million just to play for another team.
Yes. And so this is such a poor mismanagement of money, of talent, of just failure to compete. And this is not good for baseball. And this is Rockies fans. I'm sorry, because it's beautiful. I get it. It should be enjoyable to go to a game at Coors, and it is not, just based off the team that's on the field. And that's not the player's fault. That's ownership. So maybe there's a world exists where the Monfort brothers are voted out or forced to sell or something like that, but they need to start spending. Put something better on the field than this. This is ridiculous. And I've gotten on soapboxes too about talking about owners are not fans first, they're businessmen. So as long as they don't operate in the red, they do not care. So 123 million, if total operating costs for everything, payroll, the team is, pick a number, 200 million and the revenue is 300, they're golden. They do not care. And that's sad. That's not how this should be. Kind of builds up like a case for like relegation. If we could get like if we expand the markets and like the bottom 4 teams get relegated every year, I would be tickled pink because a lot of this would change, I think.
I think teams would be forced to go get more people.
Yep.
In some way, shape, or form. And you would not have as many of the quote unquote super teams, just from the aspect of like, okay, no, like we have to compete or we're out.
Yes. And even I'm curious too, like we felt bad a little bit for the A's in this offseason just because they made some offers to some bigger name free agents and they just couldn't get anybody to go there because of their stadium situation. They're not home yet. There's an end in sight for that. Colorado's already where they're at. They're not going anywhere. This is not going to get any better. There's no optimism without a change in ownership.
And you look at the teams they have to compete against in their division, and they all have better systems in place.
Yes.
The Dodgers, not only do they scout well, draft well, develop prospects well, they go spend money or they trade the prospects for the guy they need at the big league level. Diamondbacks, you're seeing their young core right now. A guy like Corbin Carroll, an org guy, going out and making a case to be an MVP. Padres, you're seeing the same thing. Jackson Merrill. Also, quick touch on the Padres. Are we officially saying that the Nationals won the Soto trade?
Yeah.
Because I was looking at that the other day and I was like, okay, they gave up Soto. And at the time, it was like, dude, okay, Padres better win.
Yeah.
Padres didn't win. Now the Nationals have their core set because of what the Padres did.
Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams. Who else am I missing? Robert Hassel.
Yeah.
Was that in that deal?
Okay. Hassel, Abrams, Wood, and Gore.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And you want to know what's even funnier?
Huh.
Apparently, before the Soto trade was made, there was an offer to the Angels for Shohei that included those guys and Jackson Merrill. So the Angels could have completely revamped their entire organization with one trade instead of letting this guy hang around, try and make some money at the big league level, and or just revenue wise, when you were never going to compete.
Nope.
And now look where you are, Angels. You're not in the cellar, though. Congrats.
That's a testament to Ron Washington, I think, not Art Moreno or Perry Minasian. So, yeah. It's sad. It's not getting better anytime soon for the Rockies either. You quick look at their farm too. Charlie Condon, Golden Spikes winner. That's kind of like the crown jewel of it.
How are those numbers looking? Still one home run?
No home runs.
Oh, I thought he had one pro ball home run. That's on me. Sorry.
Well, last year, correct.
Yeah.
So for 2025, he's hitting 296, but he's only played 9 games. So I assume hurt, no home runs, 10 strikeouts to 8 hits, 1 walk.
Yeah.
That's depressing. And there's really no other, like Zach Veen, I guess is the other name. And we've seen some of him through the spring. Yeah, you had another big name. Benny Montgomery was another high draft pick that has kind of just fallen by the wayside, which to me is probably more of a testament towards player development than anything. None of these guys working out. Sorry. It's time for the Monfort brothers to move on. Something needs to happen in Colorado. Kind of on more grim news, we need to touch on some injuries. Oof. More big injury news this week. Probably the biggest to me because I was high on this guy. There was a point in time where we were sitting here going, Paul Skeens and this guy, Jared Jones, could be the best 1-2 punch in baseball for years to come. Jared Jones has not thrown a pitch in the regular season and is under the knife. His season's over. So, not good for baseball just because I enjoyed watching them. The Pirates not competing, though, to begin with. Just not good news all around. I hope speedy recovery for him. Get back to the mound, and hopefully the Pirates are a little bit more than just smoke next year.
Nope. See ya. That lineup is not going to play. Like, you have to go in and gut the lineup at this point. You have maybe 2 everyday players in that lineup currently.
Oof. Do you think there's enough on the farm that you keep optimism, though?
No.
No, but, well...
You only have pitching on the farm in my mind.
Connor Griffin, Tamar Johnson.
Connor Griffin's what, in low A right now?
Just drafted last year. So, yeah, he's got time.
Like, years away. We're talking 4 years. At that point, you're talking about Skeens and Jared Jones being gone, Keller possibly being gone.
Yeah.
Tamar Johnson, I haven't seen the numbers, but doesn't seem like he's lighting the world on fire. I believe he's in high A, maybe double A.
Double A hitting 271. So you're right.
Okay.
You're setting the world on fire, but
And really, my whole thing with prospects right now is like, man, I've now seen a group of guys with Baltimore go out in AAA and absolutely rake, dominate. We're talking everybody in the lineup had 330 or higher averages with double-digit homers. The majority of those guys are scuffling at the big league level right now.
right.
There is a learning curve. And when we're talking 279 in double A, the learning curve just keeps getting bigger as you go up levels.
You've seen that with, I think Henry Davis was the number 1 overall pick. It hadn't quite panned out. That's the story there. I still think there's an argument to be made. If they wanted to, they won't, but if they wanted to, you could lock up like an O'Neal Cruz, Skeens, guys like Jared Jones, to where you have good bones in place to start building something to continue drafting. It's just, I go back to kind of broken record. I don't think they will. They won't spend to do that.
No, they're not going to pay three is ridiculous. It's going to be a $400 million contract to keep Skeens.
Yes. Do you think it's worth it though?
As a Pirates organization, no.
Okay.
Because you're not going to be willing to put the money after you pay Skeens to pay for the rest of what's needed.
Right.
And you clearly aren't developing that right now.
Yeah. So tailor-made for a major market. He'll
Like
end up being.
I want to say the Pirates missed on like 4 straight first rounders from like 2013 to 17, maybe.
What? So post Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I think it had to be before that. They drafted Glasnow and they missed there because they didn't develop him. But I want to say Travis Swaggerty comes to mind. He's out of baseball now.
Wow. Let's look. From 2012. 2012 was Mark Appel, who then went back to school for a year. Barrett Barnes, Austin Meadows, Reese McGuire, Cole Tucker.
Swing and a miss.
Cole Tucker just filed retirement paperwork this week too. He's done. Kevin Newman, Cabrian Hayes.
Swing and a miss. Okay. Gold Glove third baseman.
Right. Will Craig.
Swing and a miss.
Shane Baz.
Traded him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we hit Swaggerty, like you talked about. Looks like they drafted Lodolo, and Lodolo went back. Denied it. Same with Gunnar Hoglund. Okay. Quinn Priester.
With somebody else.
Yeah. Nick Gonzalez is probably the one that's still in the organization, but he has a hard time staying healthy and producing when he is.
Yeah, he's hitting probably 220, 230 right now.
I want to say he had a decent start to the season, but again, hurt early on and no whispers of when he's going to be back.
There's just so much of that because you read off almost 10 years of draft picks at that point.
Yes.
And we had 2 guys in the org still.
Yep.
And 3 that are big leaguers for other teams.
Yep.
That's not good. That's not what you're looking for. Because the guys that you gave away weren't to get blue chip starters. Like you gave away Baz for what? Can anybody even remember?
Is that a Chris Archer deal?
I think so.
Yeah.
How'd that pan out?
Not well.
Yeah. There's just so many of those head scratching moments where you're like, the numbers aren't adding up at all.
Golly, that Chris Archer deal, now I think about it too, it would have been Shane Baz, it would have been Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow.
Mm-hmm. Yet again, the Rays are going to Ray.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Moving on to, we'll play this one closer to home because it hurts the most. Hayden Wesniewski, Tommy John surgery. His season is over. That's painful. Yeah, that's still the potential that I think that guy has still. We'll see how he bounces back, but I still see the pitching ninja of that Frisbee slider. just absolutely ridiculous. Like 2 feet of run on it. Just that should play really well. And we're not going to find out how well it ages for at least another year, probably a year and a half. And then don't look now. Renell Blanco flew back to Houston today with, I believe, arm soreness, something to that excuse. So couple that with Arrighetti not in the rotation. Hunter Brown touched up today. I hope that's nothing health related.
Luis Garcia still out.
Garcia's still out. JP France. The
Javier.
Javier.
You just get to the point where it's like, okay, we were talking about the Dodgers rotation being banged up. The Astros might be more banged up, and they didn't have the depth the Dodgers had.
No.
It's scary right now.
And don't look, even after today, they're a game above 500 and second in the division, or tied for second. That's more of a testament as to how bad the West is. But I'm still standing on the mountain of trade Framber Valdez at this point. I understand you don't have any pitching, but let's get rid of Valdez. Let's restock the pond a little bit. Get Colton Gordon some more reps. We talked about Brandon Walter, AJ Blueball. There's other guys there, and you're going to start to get some of these guys back healthy to where you can start thinking about next year and potentially maybe extend that window. Holding my breath.
Yeah, I mean, I think the conversation becomes, do you think with where the Astros rotation stands right now, they can catch the Mariners?
See, that's the problem with the West, is every team that is in contention towards the top still has one glowing problem. So even the Mariners, the offense is going to be a problem ultimately. I get it. Run differential is positive right now, but I don't think it's going to stay that way.
I think it'll stay that way purely because they built a little pad at this point and they have that good of starting pitching. But I don't think they run away with the division. Like, I think you can stay within 5 games of them. It's just like, are any of those teams going to challenge for a World Series? Probably not.
No, but I think if this is sad, forgive me, Jim Crane, I think ownership sits here and goes, if we make the playoffs, did our part. It's a crapshoot at that point.
Which who knows? If they do make the playoffs, and if they have Framber healthy, Hunter Brown healthy, and Christian Javier healthy, there's a chance. There is no doubt a chance they at least make it through the first round.
It's all about who gets hot at the right time. We talk about that consistently, but still, I will note too, they're 1 game above and in second place without Jordan. Jordan hadn't done much of anything and has a nagging hand injury.
Yeah, Jordan, Christian Walker, like there's a bunch of bats that have fallen silent right now.
Yeah.
And shout out to Jake Myers for carrying. But at the same point, like, are you expecting Jake Myers to continue that tear? You expect him to come back to earth.
Yes.
And if that's, a consistent 275 hitter that's hitting 1 or 2 homers a week, you love it. You're stoked. Yep. That's way better production than anybody anticipated him having this year.
Right. Which I think we talked about. Probably the expectation is what? A 2-WAR player, maybe?
I think that's a win. If he's a 2-WAR player, that's a win.
Right.
If he is dead even, you're like, okay, that's kind of what we expected.
Right. Again, with the market for pitching, we'll touch on one more just for a team that doesn't have any to spare. Shota Imanaga, Duke's guy. We looked before this. It's a hamstring, I believe. Left hamstring. They had thought he would miss a start or two, and it's ended up taking longer too, just out of discomfort, I think. So I think the plan is for him to start throwing again in another week, and he'll be back at some point in June. The Cubs are in the market for pitching. So I still think that's, with the way that farm is set up, that Dana Brown, pick up the phone, call them over there, see what they would give you for Framber Valdez. Or, I think the Cubs are probably already doing their due diligence to see who could be had for a certain price there too, because I believe they're still winning that division. They're 3 games up on the Cardinals. Good night.
That's right, baby. Cards.
Yeah.
The cards. You love to see it.
This is why we play the game, though. If we knew how it was going to end, there'd be no point in playing, right?
Hey,
So,
the Cards are like the 4th best team war in baseball right now. Does that not blow your mind?
yes. Wild.
Yeah.
Brendan Donovan,
Ivan
Matt
Herrera,
Yeah.
Sonny Gray. They're just doing it. The boys are just doing it.
Shout out, tip of the cap. Well done. Keep it up. This is why we play the game, but it's wild. The Cubs, I don't think they're in trouble because they still manage to win games regardless, but you have to wonder about longevity when Steele's already done for the season. Imanaga's down for a little bit. You need to go make a move, in my opinion, just to start getting ready and get momentum for the dog days, we'll say.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Any other injuries you want to talk about? Anything else you want to get off your chest?
No injuries. Do want to give flowers yet again to Logan Henderson of the Milwaukee Brewers. He is now 3-0 with a 1.69 ERA, 16 innings pitched, and 23 strikeouts, a .81 WHIP. The young man is absolutely doing it. The Tobias Myers call of last year, him being that guy.
Yep.
It's panning out. All of a sudden, Mizorowski's throwing well down in AAA. If they can get that lineup healthy and actually producing some runs again, boy, they could go on a run.
I still keep holding on to Brandon Woodruff was this close to coming back and like rolled an ankle or something, kind of delayed him by a week or two. If you can get Woodruff back, if you can get DL Hall back to go along with Henderson, Peralta, whoever, Tobias Myers, whatever in the rotation, suddenly that's just an athletic team, man.
It is.
They're dogs.
That Central is honestly just going to be fun to watch as it comes down the wire.
Yeah.
Because you feel like any of those teams could take out the Cubs in a 3-game series.
Yes.
Because you go up against, say you're going up against the Reds and you're facing Abbott and Lodolo and Hunter Green. Like, I don't like my chances in that series.
Yeah.
Like, who are the 3 you're throwing out there? The Cubs. Hopefully Imanaga's back.
Yeah. Hopefully Imanaga.
Tyon and Boyd. Yeah. Love to see it.
Okay. Yeah. Shout outs. Brewers could be a team to watch. Still, they're above the Pirates. They're 2 games below 500, but like 6 games behind the Cubs. That could flip relatively quickly.
Oh, secondary shout out. Phillies finally caught the Mets. Love to see it. I know I didn't pick them, but the Mets kind of crumbling is making me somewhat happy right now, especially with the demeanor with which Mr. Soto seems to be playing the games currently.
It's awfully expensive. A lot of money to, we'll say, lack maturity.
Just, look salty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Special
still,
shout out to Kyle Schwarber. His bad. 256, 17 homers. Whatever, man. Career year. You know you love him, Clontsy.
I love it just from like a fellow like hefty guy, like the pop and all of that. But it's still, I take Luis Arias over Schwarber.
That's just foolish. 256 with 17. You're gonna take Arias over him at what 320 and no juice.
How many strikeouts?
Who cares?
Strikeout is like the most unproductive thing in baseball. Don't strike out. Fly out, do something, make contact, give the game a chance to happen.
Nope. This isn't 14U baseball. It's not like, hey, put the ball in play and they're going to make an error. This is big leagues. They don't really make errors.
But still, if runner's on second, fly ball to right field, I can advance a runner. I can do anything on a strikeout.
You're exhausting.
Don't hit the player, hit the game.
It's all right. Maybe next week we'll go over the numbers between you pick your average guy, and I'll take Schwarber, and we'll see what the in-depth statistics say.
Okay.
Because I've got an idea of where Schwarber's at, like WRC plus and all that fun stuff.
Right.
We got an idea, and I think it's pretty good. Pretty good.
We'll save that one for a live episode. See if we can get some interaction between like an
Boy.
argument in the chat. See who picks a side.
I can't wait. Oh, we almost forgot. I guess I mentioned him earlier. Will Benson with the Flowers too. 5
Right.
straight games, 5 homers. You're bad, kiddo. Yeah, tight. It almost
Man
feels
on
like
fire.
Cleveland could use that bat in the outfield. Too bad they let that one get away.
Yeah, no joke. Yes, but even Cleveland at 4th in the AL Central is still 26-22.
Oh,
which
yeah.
would be
Second in the West.
if not winning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Okay. Shout out everyone. This will get uploaded to the proper channels. And then hopefully next week we'll see if we can't get all 3 of us. We've had an argument on tap that we just need to finally have to figure out why Nolan Ryan is not in your top 5. So we may put that
Boy.
in the queue.
You're going to
Just
make me do homework after a Memorial Day weekend? All right, fine.
Just not homework, just validate your argument. A little
That's
bit of prep
homework.
time before we get in there.
That's homework.
That's laying in bed looking at stats before you go to sleep type stuff.
And to be fair, it's not that I'm not a Nolan fan. I quite literally have a Nolan picture in the background.
Okay.
But it's just a top 5. I wish, I really do, but the numbers say otherwise. Numbers matter. Numbers matter, Clontsy.
See, I love numbers, and I just there's legend I can't overlook.
That's giving Bo Jackson vibes.
Fair enough. Saving the argument.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for hanging out. We will catch y'all next week. Happy Memorial Day weekend to everybody, and peace out. Go watch ball.